Hey everyone, welcome to a deep dive into UK podcasting.
Yeah.
We're going to be picking apart this viral plan that's been making the rounds online, and it's full of really great information, whether you're thinking of starting a podcast yourself or you just want to know what goes into creating one.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to be covering everything from choosing your niche all the way through to the UK-specific equipment advice and the honest pros and cons that people don't always tell you about.
I think one of the things that really stood out to me about this plan is the way it really emphasizes finding your passion. Like your unique perspective is your biggest asset.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about tapping into what truly excites you, right?
Right.
Instead of just chasing trends, this plan is all about finding that thing that gets you talking for hours and hours. What's that topic that just gets you going?
Yeah.
I mean, is it true crime? Is it like hilarious stories from your local pub? Or is it something completely different? Maybe it's sharing the secrets of your grandma's incredible baking.
That's where the whole concept of a niche comes in. It's not just about narrowing your focus. It's more about finding that sweet spot where your passion kind of intersects with an audience who's actually going to be excited to hear what you have to say.
Okay, so it's like finding your tribe.
Exactly.
Through the magic of sound waves.
Yeah, exactly.
And once you've kind of got that killer concept, you need a name that's just as catchy.
Right.
Something that's instantly going to tell your listeners what your podcast is all about. I mean, the Eccentric Baker's Chronicles, that has a certain ring to it, doesn't it?
Yep, it does.
Okay, so you want something memorable. You want something that really stands out.
And this plan suggests using tools like Canva, which is really great for creating a logo.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you're not a design whiz.
Even if you don't know the first thing about design.
Exactly. And then you can always go to Fiverr. That's a great place to find really affordable freelance designers here in the UK.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Yeah. And don't forget about that clear, concise description, too. That's your elevator pitch.
Oh, yeah. That's important.
Yeah. It's how you're going to grab potential listeners on those podcast platforms.
Okay, so we got the idea down. The name is sorted. Now let's talk about gear. And let's be real. We don't all have Abbey Road studios at our disposal.
Well, that's the beauty of podcasting today. You don't need a fortune to get started.
Oh, that's great to hear.
This plan actually dives into all the essentials, the must-have equipment, and even breaks down like UK-specific pricing, which is incredibly helpful.
Oh, that's so important because you don't want any nasty surprises with import fees or anything like that, do you?
Exactly.
First up, the microphone. And you know there are options at every price point. So tell me a little bit about some of those options and why that choice really matters.
Well, for those on a budget, the Samson Q2U is a great starting point. It's around 60 pounds.
Okay.
And it's a USB microphone, which means you can plug it straight into your computer. No extra equipment needed.
Oh, wow. That sounds simple.
Now, if you're looking for a step up in quality, the Rode PodMic is really popular. It's about 100 pounds. And that's an XLR microphone, which means you will need an audio interface to connect it to your computer.
Hold on. For those who might not be familiar with that term, can you just quickly explain what an audio interface is?
Sure. So basically, an audio interface acts as a translator between your microphone and your computer.
Oh, okay.
It converts that analog signal from your microphone into a digital signal that your computer can understand.
Oh, so it's like the middleman.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's the Rode PodMic, Biff. What if we want to go even more high-end?
Then we're talking about the Shure SM7B, the gold standard.
Okay.
And you'll find it around 350 pounds. But this is like the choice of so many top podcasters because the sound quality is just incredible.
So we've got a range from, simple plug and play to that real sort of studio quality sound. What about headphones?
Headphones are crucial. Absolutely crucial for monitoring your audio while you're recording. You want to be able to hear exactly what you're recording so you can catch any pops or clicks or any background noise.
I think most people get why headphones are important, but what about the different types of headphones? Because the plan mentions a few.
Right. So the Audio-Technica ATH M20X are a solid budget option. They're about 40 pounds.
Okay.
And they provide clear audio and good isolation, which means they block out external noise so you can really focus on what you're recording.
Okay.
If you're craving studio quality sound, the Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro are fantastic.
And how much are those?
They're around 120 pounds.
Okay, so a bit pricier.
But they're known for their comfort and just incredibly detailed sound reproduction.
Okay, so we've got the microphone, we've got the headphones, maybe an audio interface if we're going down that XLR route. What else is on our shopping list?
Okay, so a pop filter is essential.
A pop filter.
Yeah, it reduces those plosive sounds the P's and the B's, that can create pops in your recording.
Oh, okay.
And they're super affordable, usually under 10 pounds.
Oh, that's good.
And then for optimal mic placement, a boom arm can be really, really useful.
Okay, what's a boom arm?
It basically allows you to position your microphone perfectly without having to hunch over your desk.
Oh, so it's like having a little microphone assistant.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find them for about 30 pounds.
That's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
now this is where things get a bit technical, but trust me, it's important. We need software to actually record and edit our audio, so where do we even begin with that?
Well, this plan suggests Audacity.
Audacity.
Yeah, it's free and available for both PC and Mac.
Oh, that's good.
It's surprisingly powerful for a free software. You can record, edit, add music, even clean up your audio. Now, if you find yourself wanting more advanced features, Adobe Audition is a popular choice.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
It's a subscription service, around 20 pounds a month. But it offers a wider range of tools for more professional level audio editing.
So we've got our microphone, headphones, maybe an audio interface, pop filter, a boom arm, and our recording software. I'm feeling like a pro already, but my wallet might not be. What about places to buy all this gear here in the UK? I mean, I'm guessing Amazon's a safe bet.
Amazon UK is definitely convenient,
Yeah.
especially for that quick delivery.
Yeah, and competitive prices.
Exactly. But you do have some other great choices as well.
Okay, like what?
Gear 4 Music is a well-respected UK retailer for all sorts of music equipment. And they often have really knowledgeable staff who can offer advice.
Oh, that's good.
If you prefer an in-person experience, PMT Online actually has stores all across the UK.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you can try out the gear before you buy it and get personalized recommendations.
Oh, that's so helpful, especially if you're just starting out and you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by all the options.
Exactly. And there's also a European retailer that this plan mentions.
Oh, okay.
Thomann is based in Germany, but they ship to the UK.
Okay.
And they often have some of the best prices on audio gear that you'll find anywhere. So it's worth checking them out, especially if you're on a tight budget.
All right, so we've got our concept, we've got our gear. I am ready to hit record. But before we transform your spare bedroom into a makeshift recording studio, let's talk about the actual recording process itself. Any tips for capturing that audio magic, even if we're not in a fancy studio?
This plan emphasizes that you don't need a professional studio to create really good recordings. A small room with soft furnishings like curtains and rugs can do wonders to dampen echo.
Oh, right, so it's about that kind of sound dampening.
Exactly.
I've heard of people recording under blankets
Yeah.
or in closets to try and create like a makeshift vocal booth.
Resourcefulness at its finest.
Exactly. What about microphone placement? Is there a sweet spot?
Keeping your microphone about a fist's distance away from your mouth is usually a good starting point.
Oh, okay, a fist's distance. I like that.
Yeah, and it's about finding that balance between clarity and avoiding those harsh, breathy sounds. And remember to use those headphones.
Yes, always wear your headphones.
Monitoring your audio in real time is really important so you can catch any issues like background noise or distortion before it's too late.
This plan also mentions recording in WAV format. Can you just quickly explain why that matters?
Okay, so WAV format captures your audio in its purest form
Okay.
without any compression. And this gives you the highest quality for editing, and it makes sure that your final product sounds nice and crisp and professional.
Okay, so we've recorded our episode. I'm guessing there's a bit of magic to be done in the editing process. So what exactly are we looking to achieve in the edit?
So editing is where you polish your audio and really bring it to life.
Okay.
You can remove any background noise, awkward pauses, and even those moments where you stumble over your words.
Yeah, we all do that.
Right. And a little bit of editing can make a huge difference in the quality of your podcast.
It's like taking a rough diamond and turning it into a sparkling gem. Now, this plan also mentions using music and sound effects. How do those fit into the picture?
Music and sound effects can add a lot of depth and texture to your podcast, but the key is to use them sparingly.
Oh.
You want to enhance your audio, not overwhelm it.
Right, so don't go overboard.
Right. A well-placed sound effect can create a mood or help transition between segments, while a little bit of background music can add just a subtle layer of atmosphere.
So our episode is recorded, it's edited, it's polished, and it might even have a little touch of musical flair. Now, how do we get this masterpiece out into the world? This is where podcast hosting services come in, right?
Exactly. Podcast hosting services are like your digital landlord.
Okay.
They store your audio files and make it really easy to distribute your podcast to all the major listening platforms. And our plan actually highlights a few UK-friendly options.
Okay, let's dive into those. What should UK podcasters be looking for in a hosting service?
Ease of use is crucial.
Yeah, makes sense.
You want a platform that makes it simple to upload your episodes, manage your settings, and track your listeners. Analytics are also important because they give you insights into your audience, like where they're listening from and which episodes are most popular.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, distribution options. You want your podcast to be on all the major platforms.
Like what?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, the whole lot.
So many choices. Our plan mentions Buzzsprout, Podbean, and Anchor. What are the key differences between those?
So Buzzsprout is a great all-rounder option.
Yeah.
Really user-friendly interface. And they have a free plan for up to 2 hours of audio per month.
Oh, that's good.
Paid plans start at £10 per month
Yeah.
and offer more storage and features.
Okay.
Podbean is another really solid choice. Paid plans start at £9 per month.
Okay.
And they have a strong focus on community features,
Oh, that's cool.
which can be really great for connecting with other podcasters. And then for beginners, Anchor, which is powered by Spotify, is a fantastic option.
Oh, I've heard good things about Anchor.
They offer a completely free plan with unlimited hosting and distribution.
Wow, that's really good for beginners.
It is. It's a great way to test the waters without breaking the bank.
Okay, so now we've got our podcast hosted and ready to be unleashed upon the world. But how do we get people to actually listen? This is where marketing comes in, right?
This is where marketing comes in.
Yeah.
And this plan reminds us that social media is our hype machine.
Oh, I love that.
We need to get people excited about our podcast.
All right, let's talk social media strategy. What are some effective ways to use those platforms to promote a podcast?
Creating dedicated social media accounts for your podcast is a great first step.
Okay, so like you wouldn't just use your personal profiles,
Yeah.
you'd actually set up separate accounts.
Yeah, dedicated accounts for your podcast. Think Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, wherever your target audience hangs out. Share behind-the-scenes content, little snippets from your episodes, engage with your followers,
Okay.
things like teaser clips, funny bloopers, maybe even do polls to get people talking about upcoming topics.
Oh, I love polls.
It's all about building that buzz and making people feel like they're part of the journey.
Right, so it's not just about promoting, it's about building a community.
Exactly. But social media is just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Right.
This plan highlights the importance of collaborating with others.
Oh, okay, how do you mean?
Guests. Guests can bring their own audiences to your podcast, and then collaborating with other podcasters can help expose you to a whole new set of listeners.
Oh, okay, I see.
So think about things like maybe guest hosting each other's shows or doing like joint episodes on a related topic.
It's like cross-pollination for the podcasting world.
Exactly.
And I imagine engaging with your community is just as important as reaching new listeners.
Absolutely. Responding to comments, asking questions, and just having genuine conversations with your listeners is key to building that loyal following. They want to know that you're listening and you value their feedback.
It's all about building that genuine connection, that sense of community that makes people feel like they're part of something special.
Exactly. And that brings us to another really important consideration: the real investment involved in podcasting.
Okay, let's get real for a moment. This plan provides a really detailed breakdown of potential costs, but I think it's more helpful to look at the big picture. What's the overall investment that we're looking at?
You're absolutely right. While podcasting can be surprisingly affordable to start, the real investment is your time and your dedication.
Right. It's not just about the money.
Exactly.
It's about putting in the work.
Creating high-quality content, editing those episodes, marketing your podcast, and engaging with your community, all of that takes time and effort. It's a passion project.
So it's important to go in with your eyes wide open.
Absolutely.
Okay, so before we get swept away in the excitement of launching our podcasting empire, let's take a moment to weigh the pros and cons. Hit me with the unfiltered truth.
Let's dive in. Let's start with the pros, because there are actually loads of great things about podcasting. First off, it's so accessible these days.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need like a fancy studio or super expensive equipment to get started.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about how you could literally start with just your phone and a free editing app.
Exactly. That barrier to entry is so low, which is fantastic for anyone who's kind of curious about podcasting, but maybe a bit hesitant to dive in head first.
Yeah, just try it out, experiment a bit.
Exactly. You can experiment, find your voice without breaking the bank. Another massive pro is the creative freedom you have.
Oh, yeah.
You're the boss of your own podcast. You choose the topics, the format, the guests, the music, everything.
It's all you.
It is. Want to explore like the history of British punk rock?
Yeah.
Go for it. Want to share your hilarious experiences as a dog walker in London? Why not?
The world is your oyster.
Exactly.
I think that's what really excites me about podcasting, is that freedom to really explore whatever you're passionate about.
It really is. And the best part is there's an audience out there who want to hear it.
Yeah, that's true.
The UK podcasting scene is booming. More and more people are tuning into podcasts every day.
I've definitely noticed that.
And that means there's a growing demand for new voices, fresh perspectives. If you've got something unique to share, there are people out there who are eager to listen.
So you're saying there's room for everyone?
I really think so. This plan talks about the power of connecting with a niche audience.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. Instead of trying to appeal to everyone, you can really focus on building a community around a shared passion.
So like we were saying before, it's about finding your tribe.
Exactly.
Their sound waves.
Imagine creating a podcast about the history of your local town, or maybe a deep dive into the world of British sci-fi novels.
Oh, I love that idea.
You'd attract an audience of people who are genuinely interested in those topics, and that shared passion makes for a really strong bond.
Definitely. Okay, I'm sold on the pros, but let's be realistic. Every rose has its thorns. So what are some of the challenges that UK podcasters might face?
One of the biggest challenges is definitely the time commitment. Podcasting isn't a set it and forget it kind of endeavor.
No, you've really got to put in the work.
Exactly. It takes time to plan your episodes, record the audio, edit it to perfection, create marketing materials, engage with your community. It's a labor of love, and you really need to go in with your eyes wide open.
It's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of creating the content.
I know.
But we need to be prepared for all that behind-the-scenes work that goes into making a podcast successful.
Absolutely. And then there's the challenge of growing your audience. Building a loyal following takes time. It takes consistency, and it takes some strategic thinking. You'll need to experiment with different marketing approaches. You need to be patient. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's a long game.
It is. This plan also mentions the competition, which is something I think about a lot.
Yeah, me too. There are so many podcasts out there. How do you make yours stand out?
That's where research comes in and figuring out what makes your podcast different.
Right, so what's your unique angle?
Exactly. Before you even hit record, you need to research your niche, identify your target audience, and figure out what makes your podcast unique. What perspective can you offer that others aren't? What stories can you tell that are really going to resonate with your listeners?
So it's not just about having a good idea.
Right.
It's about finding that special something that makes your podcast stand out from the crowd.
Exactly. I think for me, the technical side of things can be a bit daunting. All those buttons and knobs.
Oh, yeah. It can be a bit intimidating if you're new to audio editing and all the tech stuff.
But the good news is there are tons of resources available to help you learn. There are incredible online tutorials, there are articles, and even forums where you can connect with other podcasters and get advice.
The UK podcasting community is really supportive, isn't it?
It really is. There are always people willing to help you along the way. We talked earlier about choosing the right hosting service, but what about actually getting your podcast on all those different listening platforms?
Yeah, how does that work? Is it complicated?
You know, it's actually much easier than you might think. Most hosting services make distribution really simple. Once you've uploaded your podcast to your chosen platform, they usually handle the process of submitting it to all the major directories. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. It's often just a matter of clicking a few buttons and filling in some information about your podcast.
So it's not as scary as it sounds?
Not at all. Now, I know a lot of people are curious about the money side of things. Can you actually make money from podcasting?
That's the dream, isn't it?
It is. And it's definitely possible, but it's important to go into it with realistic expectations. Building a large enough audience to attract sponsors or sell premium content takes time and effort. So, I wouldn't recommend quitting your day job just yet.
So how do podcasters actually make money? What are some of the common approaches?
One common approach is sponsorships. As your podcast grows in popularity, you might start attracting brands who are interested in reaching your audience. You can read ads during your episodes or create sponsored segments. Another option is offering premium content like bonus episodes or exclusive interviews to listeners who are willing to pay a small monthly fee.
So it's like creating a VIP experience for your most dedicated fans.
Exactly. I think this plan has given us so much to think about.
It really has.
As we wrap up this deep dive, what are some of the key takeaways you want our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest takeaway for me is just how accessible UK podcasting really is.
Yeah.
You don't need to be like a tech genius or have a ton of money to get started.
Right. Anyone with a passion and a story to share can do it.
Exactly. This plan has really done a good job of breaking down those barriers
I think so too.
and showing people that they can create a podcast. It's about finding your voice, connecting with an audience, and being willing to put in the effort.
Yeah, it's that simple.
It is really, we've covered so much in this deep dive. We started with finding that perfect niche, choosing the right equipment without, spending a fortune.
Those UK-specific tips were so helpful.
Yeah, that was great. Then we talked about recording, the editing process, hosting, distribution.
We talked about the challenges too, like how much time you need to dedicate to it, the importance of marketing, and how to make your podcast stand out.
But even with those challenges, I think the potential rewards are incredible.
Yeah.
Just imagine building a community around your podcast,
Yeah,
sharing your passions with the world, maybe even making some money from it.
it's definitely possible.
It is. This plan has given us a fantastic roadmap. But ultimately, it's up to each of us to take those first steps and actually create something.
The UK podcasting scene is so vibrant,
It is.
and there are so many people who are willing to support you.
So to our listeners, what unique perspective can you bring to the UK podcasting world? What stories are you just bursting to tell?
The microphone is waiting.
What are you going to say? Go create something amazing. We can't wait to hear what you come up with.